tons of damage.
Nice.
Alright guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna talk about the Malzahar and CHO GATH reroll comp. So obviously for the sake of this video I chose a game where I had a really good opener. But as always I will talk about the comp in more general terms, how and when to level, how and when to roll and all the good stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I included a section here where you can see me getting the CHO GATH from the minion round and immediately checking out what the mutant buff is this game, before the Augment section pops up. Because I think contrary to Kaiser you can't play CHO GATH and Malzahar with every single mutant variation. So for our first Augment section we have the new Ornn Gold Augment. It's not prismatic anymore, it's gold now. So of course we pick it. And this is our selection. Now I know the gold collector is really good and I could have easily played anything else with the gold collector and probably be fine. But the Triforce on CHO GATH just sounded really interesting, so I went for it. Okay, so let's talk about the different mutant variations for a little bit. So I think one difference to notice here is there's a difference if you get CHO GATH from first minion round or if you get him later. If you get him from the first minion round, I think you can be a little bit more open-minded, meaning that you may play CHO GATH anyway even if the mutant is not ideal. If you happen to find him later on, say level 5 or maybe in the beginning of level 6, everything else is too late anyway, then you want to be a little more picky. So, let's go over the mutant variations one by one. I think clearly the best mutant variation for CHO GATH and Malzahar is Bio-Leeching, where you get Omnivamp. It benefits them both and I think it fits the playstyle really well because you want to have a fight that takes as long as possible, so the healing will always be nice. Of course everybody is gonna have a different opinion on this, but for me the second place is tied between Voidborn, where the enemies are executed below 20% health, and Metamorphosis, because Metamorphosis is just really nice on CHO GATH. So if you have better CHO GATH items than Malzahar items, then I think Metamorphosis is even better, maybe even the best choice. Synaptic Web is definitely also doable, it's really good for Malzahar, so if your CHO GATH items are somewhat scuffed but your Malzahar items are really good, you have a blue buff, you have Jeweled Gauntlet or Giant Slayer GA, stuff like that, then this mutant variation will also work nicely. So we're now left with only 3 more variations. And I would probably avoid playing CHO GATH and Malzahar with all of them. The first 2 are maybe somewhat decent and playable if you feel like you can play some damage type of CHO GATH, but I wouldn't really recommend it. These are Cybernetic Enhancement and Hyper Adrenal Glands. They are more like an AD type and I think they fit the Kog'Maw comp just way better. The last one is probably somewhat controversial, because it sounds really nice, Ferocious Appetite, to get AD and AP whenever an ally dies, because CHO GATH is most likely gonna be the last unit standing. However, you're more than likely only gonna play 6 to 7 units throughout the entire game because of Cyan and CHO GATH, so this augment is kinda sus. I will admit though that this augment could actually be really nice for some people, or they think it's really nice. But I think it's kinda weird that you only play so little units and you still try to play the Darkstar augment. It's probably a tier 1 or 2 augment for CHO GATH if you get the phony frontline though, because they count as units. So, let's focus on the game for a little bit. As you can see, we're actually really rich, although we got 2 3-cost units from the first minion round and didn't sell either of them. And okay, we did sell it 1 round later, but anyway. So we had 50 gold, which is really nice. We also got 2 CHO GATH, so there's definitely a possibility to just level next turn and roll a little bit to find that third CHO GATH. We also already got the Cyan, which is really nice, and at this point I just want to say that there are a lot of people, or I see a lot of people who are just gonna put in 3 mutants or even 5 mutants at level 5, and I think that's just completely useless. I think that's just oftentimes what happens with these comps. People think, I want to play mutants, and so I have to put in all the mutants now that I got them. But that's just not right, and it's just a lot weaker than if you put in 2 Colossus and, like I did, you get Protector from Khazad-dûm, and you just get the Socialite, 20% more damage. That's just a lot stronger. I'm actually not even sure if I played 5 mutants at all this game. I think it can be really good, but I don't like to force it, and still, it's 2 dead units, so that's kind of weird in the end game. Okay, so this augment is pretty obvious choice. We're gonna take armor plating because we already have the Scion and we wanna play around CHO GATH, not so much about Malzahar or Kaiser, because we already got 2 items and we're looking to complete the 3rd item. And as I said, our goal is to make the fights last as long as possible, and armor plating is just great at doing exactly that. So our next goal is to go level 7 as quickly as possible, and we are probably gonna do this either right before the minion round or after the minion round, depending on our win streak and how these games are going. I tell you that because there's a common myth that with reroll comps that you never level below 50 gold before your reroll level, so for this comp level 7, but that's just not true. I'm at a 3 win streak, so I definitely level here to roll a little bit. Also I got this Malzahar with Rod from Carousel, so I can just put it in at 7, and this is our comp. So I definitely wanted to hit the CHO GATH too, because I think it would have ensured my win streak a lot more than Malzahar too. But you gotta find a balance. I'm already, so 20 gold is my balance point, so I won't go lower than that, even if I didn't find it, because if I go even lower, then it takes too long till I'm back up to 50, and then I can never reach CHO GATH 3 and Malzahar 3. But if you're on a good streak, you can definitely and easily level to roll a little bit, find your 2 stars, and stabilize your board. Luckily though, we got the Ornn item, and I think a lot of people say so, that this being an gold augment now is really broken. I mean, you can see the impact it has. This CHO GATH is just slapping together with the redemption. I don't know, has he died in any of these fights? I think like once or twice. So yeah, gold Ornn augment, no brainer I think. You can pick this anytime, especially early on when you don't have a carry yet. Then you just pick this and decide what your carry is gonna be after that. So for the items here, pretty bad. We got 2 bows, but I managed to find a way to use them. As I said, Giant Slayer, I think it's a really good item on Malzahar because the first ult is most of the times gonna be on a frontline unit, and it's just gonna get stuck there if it doesn't die quickly. And also it helps the CHO GATH to just eat the first unit. I think True Gauntlet is also really nice because there are a lot of instances of damage from his ult, so it's gonna crit a lot. Although I've seen like a Reddit post where someone was like calculating the damage and found that Rabadons did like more damage in some cases, but I don't know. And also I didn't have 2 rods, so yeah, you just slam what you got, you know. You can't greet items that way. If you can make also an A or even S tier item, just slam it. So for the other bow, it's a little bit awkward, but I'll probably try to make a Titans on CHO GATH. That could work nicely. And notice how we still don't have the CHO GATH too? That's kind of wild, so before anyone starts screaming that I'm just high rolling as fuck with the first CHO GATH and the second CHO GATH in the next shop, I don't have CHO GATH too, it's 4-2, so this game maybe started nicely, but yeah, I didn't get much after that. Okay, I got 4 Scions, but that's a different topic. Well anyway, even with CHO GATH 1, we had 96 HP, and I don't know, this comp seems pretty good. But I will also say that this comp is not forceable. So if you're like silver, gold, or just starting out, like, and you want to force a comp, then this comp is not for you. So yeah. But if you do get a nice opening like I did, then it's nice to have this comp in your repertoire and just know a little bit about it. So we pick up this Galio here. And I don't think that Galio 1 is better than Scion 2, so that's the reason I don't put it in. Another reason is that I probably will go for Scion 3, which is really strong. And I can also only do this because I'm 96 HP, and I think I will have so much time to roll and so much gold that that's definitely one win condition. Okay, so if you made it this far, now it's pretty easy for the next few rounds. You're just gonna press D and try to find CHO GATH and Malzahar. Also we got this Augment selection here. Nothing too crazy. Makeshift armor is pretty bad. We don't run a lot of units, and the cybernetic implants is okay for CHO GATH, but not really for Malzahar, and or anyone else for that matter. And so it's just Celestial Blessing to give us a little bit more healing. Right, so I also held this Tahm Kench, which I got from Carousel. There are a couple variations of this comp that you can play. For the moment I played the Socialite because the Socialite Hex is a nice spot. It's in the front line, it's not on the edge, so it's in the middle. It's pretty good for CHO GATH. And otherwise I think the level 7 is pretty awkward. I mean, you can't run 4 Bruisers, you can't run 5 Mutants if you want to have the 2 Colossus, so it's a little bit awkward. Also I got the second Galio here, which is just, I don't know man, it's level 7, why do I have these Galios? So naturally I held them because I think Galio 2 is obviously stronger than Cyan. But on the other hand, I'm level 7, and so when am I ever gonna find the third Galio? I'm not gonna go level 8 till I hit my CHO GATH and my Malzahar, and I have 3 CHOs and 1 Malzahar, so we're gonna be rolling for a while. Okay, so after minion rounds, picked up some Malzahars, 1 more CHO GATH. Now it's time to slam some items. And I slammed the Hand of Justice here on CHO GATH. I don't know if it's really the best item, but there are not gonna be any more item pieces, and I don't want to wait 3 rounds to complete my main carry. Also it gets buffed this patch, so maybe it's just a little bit better, and I'm running this hybrid CHO GATH anyway with the Trinity, like AD, AP, tankiness, so maybe it's a nice fit. Okay, so as I said, this is obviously a little bit of a high roll game, but I promised I will talk about the comp in a little bit more general terms. So obviously if you're at 96 HP, you're just gonna keep rolling. You will complete all your 3 stars and you're gonna be in a really good spot. Oh, just as a quick side note, this Kai'Sa here is a bait. This Kai'Sa is definitely not better than Malzahar 2. Especially since I already got 6 Malzahar, so I'm gonna make Malzahar 3 this game, and that's just a better carry than Kai'Sa. And also with the reduced legendary odds on level 8, what is the chance of me going 8 in like 5 rounds and then hitting Kai'Sa 2, which could be stronger, so that's just way too far away. That's the same reason why I sold the Galios. I don't think I'm gonna be an 8 for a while, so... And I need a space on my bench, so it's just too far away. Okay, so back to the comp. So I think over time it becomes somewhat intuitive. So you always gotta think about, is there a possibility of me hitting my 3 stars, or am I too low? Do I need to do something? Am I gonna die? So if you're like 20 HP and you get 6 CHO GATHs, I don't know man, you're probably just gonna go 8. But then you will probably have to go level 8 and try to put something in, so you go 7 or 6. Sometimes you gotta play like that. And if you're somewhat in the middle, like 50 or 60 HP, then you also probably want to roll for your 3 stars, well always given that you're not contested. I would say though, if you're like maybe around 40 HP and you lose another round, like a bad loss, and you're at 40 or maybe even lower, like 35, then maybe it's time to dig a little deeper. And what I mean by that is that maybe you have to roll below 50 gold. Like in this case, if I were any lower HP, I would have definitely rolled it down, like maybe to 10 or even 0. Maybe rolled it all the way down. Because I only need 1 more Malzahar and 3 CHO GATHs, and it's pretty realistic to hit. So if you were like 30 HP, then definitely roll to 0 here. I didn't do it because I'm 96 HP and I want to make that Cyan free, and I need all the gold in the world for that. There's also an option, like if you have Malzahar items that are a little bit more flexible and you think could also go in Kai'Sa, and maybe you already have your CHO GATH free, but you only have like 4 Malzahars, then it's pretty bad to just keep rolling. In that case, you definitely want to go level 8 and probably play 5 Mutant and try to find a Kai'Sa too, so she can be your carry. If you got a random Tahm Kench 2 for some reason, then you can also play 4 Bruisers at level 8 and stay at 3 Mutant. Well, it comes down to just being a little flexible, you know, like we talked about this in the other video, the last week. Yeah, so you just gotta play what you get a little bit, even in comps that are kind of reroll and forced like this one. And there's also one last interesting choice that you can do with this comp, and that's a kind of weird pivot into Arcanists. So Arcanists are pretty strong at the moment, so there's a way if you build blue buff and Jeweled Gauntlet that you could pivot into Lux somehow. The only problem I see with this is that I don't think... Oh my god, is this like the 5th Galio? By the way. So I was trying to say, the problem I think with this is that you already had the CHO GATH all the time on your board and it's really fed. So why would you pivot out of it? And you would need like Vex 2 or something to replace him. But I'm just gonna throw it out there. It is a possibility, so if you get a random Lux 2, maybe you can make a pivot. Let's also hope that I win this round, because I was too slow on my Rolldown and now I have CHO GATH 3 on my bench. And yeah, obviously I want to have that win streak going, but I think we can win anyway. This CHO GATH, well, it's just doing its thing. And I also want to say that this comp is called CHO GATH and Malzahar, but I don't think it can work if you don't have good CHO GATH items. So Malzahar is nice, but if you have a good Malzahar, why not play Arcanist? So if you don't have a good CHO GATH with really strong tank items and you got them early, so you have a lot of stacks, then I don't think this comp is very good. And in this case we got the Ornn item, the Trinity, so I think it's a pretty interesting game and I just wanted to show you guys and talk a little bit about the comp in the meantime. Yeah, we're already at stage 6 and I'm still level 7 and I just got my CHO GATH 3. So it started like a high roll, but yeah, I didn't get much after it, so I think it's still a decent game to show you. So yeah, maybe the main point to take away from this game is that you learn a little bit about how and when to greed. So if you're really strong, you can definitely greed a lot more. Like, I still didn't go 8, although I could have. And I rolled really late for my 3 stars. I could have done it earlier, but then I probably would have definitely thrown my chance out the window to hit Cyan 3. So yeah, in other games you definitely would have had to roll down earlier, or would have had to level, well, depending on what you think will make you stronger. So, I mean, you can always roll down, but what if there's nothing to hit, so to improve your board? Then you just level and put something in. Or if you got like 4 CHO GATHs in total, then it makes no sense to roll down to 0, because you're not gonna hit that many CHO GATHs. You're not gonna improve your board that way. Also, we got this Akali player here, and it looks like he's actually putting up a fight. So yeah, we lose around here, so it's not won yet. So maybe we actually had to greed exactly that much, so we can beat this guy later. But now we got the Malzahar 3, and we put in this Victor here for Arcanist, because I don't really want to play 5 mutants this game. I mean, I get that 5 mutants is pretty strong in a lot of cases, but it just feels so wrong to have 2 dead units. Like this Kai'Sa 1 without any items, it's not gonna do anything, and what else am I gonna put in? You want me to put in a Kassadin 1 for Seraphine 2? Well, that just feels so wrong. So I'm pretty confident that this is my strongest board, and now we just have to play against Akali and try to beat it. I mean, we have a Dragon Claw and an Ionic Spark on Cyan 2, so there's a little bit of counterplay there, and let's hope that's enough. My next goal to just finalize this game and ensure my win is to save up a little bit of money and then roll down for Cyan 3 whenever I feel like I could hit it, or whenever I lose too much. Okay, so I think 2 Arcanists was not bad, but I don't think it does that much, so we got this Yuumi with a Zeeks from Carousel, and we're just gonna put in that. Also for my positioning, I put the Seraphine in as a corner bait and the Mundo next to it, and my Malzahar kind of in between, and I think it's a pretty good protection against the Assassin players. And it's also not bad against this Urgot player. Like, Malzahar doesn't have to be in the last row, he's kind of to the side there, just chilling and casting his ult, so yeah. Well, that's pretty much all you do in the late game, really. You have to focus on your positioning. I mean, positioning is important at every stage of the game, but I think it becomes especially important in the late game. Positioning is more often than not really the difference between first, second and third place. Like fourth, maybe someone just sneaked in with, I don't know, a win streak, but the first 3 are probably all very strong comps, and then it comes down to positioning. And also again what my win condition here is, so I have 6 Cyans, so my win condition is definitely Cyan 3. If I only had like 4 or 5, then I would definitely not go for this, and I would try to go level 9 after the minion round, or maybe 1 round later. So we faced a Akali player again, and Malzahar is still alive, so I think our positioning was alright. And I also think Akali is a pretty strong comp this patch, so if you get a chance, maybe play Akali. Yeah, I've seen Akali win a couple games and plays top 4 relatively frequently, so yeah, Akali seems to be doing pretty good. And also I'm rolling down here because I think this is the last fight. Yeah, and I want to have the sign free because I also got this Nico, so that's a pretty good chance for me to hit it because I only need one more. Right, so usually you want to stop rolling above 10 gold, and I think I actually didn't realize that this was going to be the last fight, so I do exactly that. But of course it is the last fight, and so that was my last chance to hit Cyan. So yeah, no Cyan free this game, but well, we close. And I'm gonna roll down during the fight, I think, but of course it doesn't matter. So yeah, that was my Malzahar and CHO GATH game. I thought it's pretty interesting with the Triforce, and yeah, it worked out really nicely. So I hope you enjoyed this gameplay / commentary guide. And if you did, maybe consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me out a lot and keeps me going. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.